In this short tutorial, we're going to demonstrate and discuss dynamic data masking in SQL Server. Using the SQL Server docs, and I'll put this reference in the information with this video, there's a security section. And one of the cool capabilities that came out with SQL Server 2016 and later is the ability to do dynamic data masking. And essentially what that does is when folks with least privileged access have availability to do read operations on data structures or tables, they can see part of the data, not all of the data, like perhaps the last 3 or 4 digits of a TIN or part of an email address. And this capability is pretty cool because there's different ways to use dynamic data masking. And if you go through and read through this link, you'll see that there's default ways to do it, which will mask a full portion with X's and such. You go down, there's a built-in email capability function where it'll mask email addresses, random masking, and then a custom string that you can build yourself. So there's different approaches to doing this, and based on the type of data you're trying to mask, you'd pick the appropriate approach. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the the AdventureWorks database here in this demonstration. And in this database, I have a entity with email addresses, almost 20,000. So if I do select top 10 star from this entity, you'll see that I have email addresses in here. And I don't want this to be available to least privileged users. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a statement that's going to alter that column and apply a dynamic data mask. So how do we do that? Well, we alter the table first of all and indicate the table we want to alter. And for sake of ease, I'm going to do some copy pasting to save some typing. We're going to alter the column, and the column we're going to alter in this case is the email address column. Okay, and we're going to add a mask, and its add mask is the keywords in SQL Server. And what that mask is going to be is with the function that was in that knowledge document of email. And it looks like this when you write it in code. So this here will mask that column for people that do not have full privileges. So if I was to run this now, it'll add the mask, and I'll comment that out really quickly. And we'll uncomment my select statement again. And if I execute that, nothing looks different. Why? Because I'm currently signed in with the DB admin account. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a least privileged access user. And very easily, what I'll do is basically create a user, and I'll call this person basic user without a login. Okay, and here this user isn't going to have rights to view the data. Okay, currently that user can't do anything yet. I'm going to have to give them access to read that table. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grant select on this table to give them the permission. And I'm going to grant it on that table to this user that I just created. Okay, so basic grant statement to set this up using some DCL. And if I was to run these two statements now, oops, I already ran the person basic one, I apologize. If I run the grant statement, that's going to apply the actual permission for that user. Now I can test that user out by using a command here in my session called execute as user, and what I'll do is set that equal to my person basic user here. And I'm going to reuse my select statement that I previously wrote. So what's going to happen when I run my select statement, and at the end of it I'll revert back to my current session permission. So this execute as user command is going to basically impersonate the person basic user, and it's going to show me what that user sees when they run a select statement. And if you look, the email function for the mask applied. So this basic user basically can see the first letter of the email address, nothing else, and then the domain of the email. And that's the built-in capability. And like I said, there's other approaches to doing dynamic data masking, and this is just one of those approaches. We could do partial, we could do our own random, we could also do the default approaches. So those are more to look into. I hope you found this useful. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to put them below. You can also reach out to me at professorwolfe.com, and I encourage you to follow me and to stay tuned for future videos related to databases and other topics. Thank you.